Hello, World Economic News people. Friday, nearly the weekend. Let's start with the minimum wages per hour for various countries in the world, mainly advanced countries. Luxembourg is on top. Oh well, the chart's there now. You can just read it all yourself. Pause me if you want to read it in detail and then move on, like I will now. To Credit Suisse research. And it is serious. It's divided the possible outcomes of the peripheral European crisis into outcome possibility percentages. Now, I thought of reading this upwards from the 5% allotted to the possibility of Euro breaks up, going up to the top, but I really must start at the top. It's the only way of doing it. So 50%, and basically taking just about all the possibilities, is the EFSF, that's the bailout fund, is expanded and allowed to buy back bonds. The Germans will hurt at that. Portugal taps the EFSF, the bailout fund, and Spain muddles through. Debt restructuring in 2012-13, in Ireland and Greece, and low rates. Presumably they've given them low rates in exchange for not haircutting bondholders, who knows why. Weak euro generally, and Germany booms and runs into inflation, who knows? That's just the idea that's been floated. Let's go to 20%, which is peripheral Europe's growth accelerates via exports, structural reforms raise productivity, and government debt is reduced via asset sales. And that's second in line at 20%, so you can already see there's no chance of that at all. So that's just desperate nonsense. Well, no, Credit Suisse says it's 20%, so I can't argue with Credit Suisse, but 15% fiscal adjustment fatigue, etc., etc. You can read down the rest of them, but that's 20%. That second place one shows how desperately difficult everything is when it seemingly is impossible. And even the one that's 50%, the favourite one, has got all sorts of scratch your head. How the hell is that going to happen in it? Moving on to Citigroup analysis this time. Key consumption statistics and economic indicators for Arab states, basically. We've got Algeria, Morocco, Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, Israel, Jordan and Syria across the top, and their consumption of wheat, corn, rice, etc. And it notes across the other side, on the right hand side, that wheat prices have gone up 47%, corn's up 52%, and the only thing that's balancing everything out is that rice is down 10%. We also note that we have a line for population below the poverty line, with Algeria at 23% below the poverty line, Egypt 20%, and they're kicking off. Tunisia was only 3.8 below of the population below the poverty line, and they kicked off hard. So it's not absolutely poverty that makes them go pop. Then the final one that I've marked there is Israel, with 23.6% of the population below the poverty line. And I'm guessing that that is not a statistic for what we might call Israelis. Yahoo News, IMF says it is ready to help Egypt and others in trouble. Ain't that nice? In Singapore, the IMF Tuesday said it was ready to help riot-torn Egypt and other nations stricken by chronic unemployment, but told governments to tackle economic strains or risks instability and even war. It was a pretty hefty dude of a speech by Dominique Strauss-Kahn. International Monetary Fund chief Dominique Strauss-Kahn also said rising food prices could have potential devastating consequences for poorer nations, and warned that Asia's fast-growing economies risked a hard landing. That's economic talk for they go down, and they go down hard and stay down for a goodly while. Financial Times Alphaville, quantifying corruption risk in India. There's a chart that goes with this. It's not perfect analysis because it's number of articles on corruption in the print media about it in India, but we can see it's taken a terrible ramp up there lately. For China and India, I would even say India especially, and we know there's a lot of corruption in China. Corruption will be a problem, unfortunately. It's just the nature of the beast. And corruption is a wickedly difficult thing to get out of the system. This is the People's Daily online. Beijing's winter drought likely to be the longest in 60 years. Weather is changing. I won't go further into that. No time. Weekend's nearly here. The Michael Sainsbury China correspondent of the Australian, the Green and the Gold, China's prices continue to climb, and we get what is becoming a recurring theme here. Inflationary pressures in China are continuing to rise, with a closely watched monthly manufacturing index, PMI, showing input prices are increasing, and that's China. Definitely a trend there. And that's it. Oh no, I'm sure I had another chart. I'll find it. I've obviously not put it in the right place to finish this video. It's Saudi Arabia's oil output from 2004 to 2008, where there was a 100% price rise, but no ramping up of output by Saudi Arabia. They normally play the card of taking up the slack and keeping the price reasonable. So why didn't they between 2004 and 2008? And I will have found the pictures for it and put it below, and the link will be below there as well. Everything will be tidied away for the weekend, which I wish you a good one of. See you next week for more world economic news. Thanks, bye.